Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IPFW Athletic Center for tonight's first game of the championship night of the IPFW tip-off tournament. This is the consolation game featuring Indiana Tech and the IPFW Mastodons. This is Dave Skelton along with Charles Washington and Dan Gebhardt set to give you the action here tonight. And we'll quickly run through those starting lineups for you as we are almost at tip-off time. For the visiting team on the scoreboard, the Indiana Tech Warriors, starting will be number 20, Matt Kloss, a 6'2 junior. Number 22, Richard Rutland, a 6'1 senior. Number 33, Rex Carroll, a 6'3 senior. Number 42, Victor Bush, a 6'3 sophomore. And number 44, Tim Hose, a 6'6 senior. One change in the Indiana-Purdue lineup for tonight as compared to last night's starting lineup. We have number 12, Clarence Rich, in the starting lineup, 6'1 junior. Along with number 21, Scotty Townsend, 6'1 junior. And number 32, Kevin Shank, a 6'1 junior. And number 41, Sean Gibson, 6'7 sophomore, along with Doug Reinke, number 44, 6'8 sophomore. Charlie, we're ready for the action, and we'll be interested to see how these two teams play tonight after disappointing performances by both of them last night.
Exactly. If you tune in a little late, you might think this is a championship game. If you knew the four teams coming into this tournament yesterday were.
I talked to several people, including the coaches of tonight's first game, and they said, yeah, everything's turned upside down from what it should have been. We see some fast and furious action as the ball gets stolen, first of all, by Kevin Shank. He gets in awfully heavy traffic and ends up with a traveling ball. So Indiana Tech will inbound the ball underneath their own basket. Again, Kevin Shank picking up a loose ball. Scotty Townsend at the point for the Mastodons, looking now to get some offensive movement. And again, Indiana Tech gets a hand on the ball, but Richard Rutland knocked it out of bounds, and it will be, and they're changing the call. It is now Tech's ball out of bounds.
Dave, this is a very important basketball game for both of these teams. It's very important to not go down 0-2 in your first two games.
Right.
And it'll hurt IPFW a little bit more than Indiana Tech because they are a NCAA Division II team.
And there we saw a block by Doug Reinke. Richard Rutland on the outside with the pass now. Indiana Tech's deliberate setup here at the start of the game. A little unusual for Tech. Reinke clears the offensive rebound. And neither team has been able to get a lot going on the offensive end of the floor yet tonight. But it's early, only about a minute and 15 seconds of action. There we see a nice pass underneath. And Matt Kloss thought he had a clean block, but he'll be called for a foul.
It was a good cut by Scotty Townsend to get open right in the lane there.
Yeah, he came from the opposite side. Nice pass, inlet pass also by the Mastodons. We ought to see a good bit more intensity on both teams here tonight, I would think, Charlie. I
think so, David. And the one important ingredient IPFW has to have, someone has to step up and take control of this ball team. Someone has to take control, be the leader.
It's going to have to happen, and it'll be interesting to see who the one or two might be. Because it wouldn't hurt to have more than one, would it?
It sure doesn't. Ideally, what you want is you want your leader to be someone who's going to have the ball a lot. If it's a big man, he cannot dictate what he's going to do until he gets the ball. So it's better that someone who handles the ball is that leader, because they will have the ball a major portion of the time, and they can dictate what goes on and who gets the ball in what key situations.
Scotty Townsend hits both free throws to give IPFW an early 2-0 lead. Kevin Shank with the defensive rebound, I'm sorry. Quickly down the floor. Little tentative work here on terms of the passing that we see on the offense, but IPFW maintains control, sets up. Sean Gibson breaks high, looking for an inside pass. Kevin Shank going down the right side. Indiana Tech with a man-for-man defense here at the start of the ball game. So Indiana-Purdue trying to get their offensive set going. Reinke with a missed jump shot, but a follow-up by Kevin Shank.
You usually see that the other way around.
Yeah,
Shank on the outside and Reinke on the inside.
IPFW opening with a zone defense. Maybe a little bit of the Huntington College philosophy last night. If you remember, they defensively opened with a zone and gave Indiana Purdue the outside shot and didn't come out after them until Indiana Purdue was able to prove that they could hit the shot.
Exactly. Right now, it doesn't seem like a bad strategy. It gets you into the flow of the basketball game.
Oh, again, a back cut, excellent move. Kevin Shank that time, and then a goaltending call against Rex Carroll. So IPFW breaks on top 6-0 with almost 3 minutes of play elapsed here in the first half. And Indiana Tech's having all kinds of difficulty handling the ball here tonight, Charlie. They're lax for some reason. Things not working well for them.
And also notice, Dave, Indiana Tech is in a man-to-man defense, whereas Huntington College played zone.
Yep. Yep. And we see a scuffle underneath the basket. The bodies hit the floor. The ball goes out of bounds, and it was off of IPFW. So Indiana Tech will inbound the ball and begin their offensive attack. Quickly down the floor, Matt Kloss over. And we have a timeout. We have played just about 3 minutes and 15 seconds of basketball here tonight, and Indiana Tech is still looking for their first basket, Charles. It's been a little ragged start for them.
Well, I think they need to make some adjustments on both ends, on the offensive end and also on the defensive end. On the defensive end, maybe they want to change up a little bit. Maybe they want to go into a zone 1 or 2 times down the court. And on the offensive end, they just need to get organized and set something up.
And we see on the picture there on the monitor that the cheerleaders for IPFW doing one of their routines, and a fairly impressive geometric shape of some sort there, Charlie. Had to throw in a little mathematical term for us. Have a nice group of cheerleaders this year for IPFW, and that's not always been the case. We need the enthusiasm. We need the fan support. So we would invite all of you there who might be watching the game tonight to come out and see the exciting basketball here at IPFW during the course of this year. This is just the beginning of what should be a very exciting year. Last night, for example, Charlie, our women's basketball team at IPFW won their initial game of the season on the road at Wayne State in Detroit, and they came off with a very impressive 8-point victory.
Well, I've seen those women play. I've seen them play last year, and I've seen them in practice this year. They are a very impressive bunch.
Yes, they are, and they were an NCAA participant last year and could very well do that again. Charlie Townsend, or Scotty Townsend, makes a move to the basket and is fouled on his way by Richard Rutland. Well, of the two teams, it would appear that Indiana Purdue has come out a little less sluggish as a result of their disappointment from last night. Indiana Tech looks like they may still be reeling from the effects of that game last night. Doug Reinke with a nice move to the basket. Doesn't get the score, but he gets another chance on the hustle by Sean Gibson, keeping that ball alive. And Doug Reinke scores.
Well, Dave, I bet some of that's from embarrassment. This is an IPFW tournament. You do not want other schools to come into your gym and win your tournament to open the season. So these guys, they were a little embarrassed last night, so they're come back ready to play tonight.
Yeah, they're probably ready for anything other than an 0-2 start to the season. And there we see Clarence Rich with an aggressive move, and he couldn't quite keep up with the ball.
Got a little bit anxious, but he is in there hustling. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's starting. He gives a little better dimension as far as hustle and defense, as opposed to Glenn Howard, who has the superior offensive skills, but maybe not as much intensity as Clarence, and maybe that's why Clarence is in the ball game to open the game. And
in last night's ball game, you're absolutely right. Clarence gave us a real good stretch of basketball, got in foul trouble, and it was too bad because that kind of slowed him down then and also slowed the team down. Rex Carroll to move down the lane and to give Indiana Tech their first basket of the evening, coming at about the 15:30 mark. Clarence Rich, Doug Ranke, inside-outside game. Scotty Townsend brings it back out, sets up the offense for the Mastodons.
Looked like Scotty caught a finger or an elbow in the eye right there. And it probably should have been a foul call. But Scotty, still, you can't stop play until that whistle blows.
Even if you can't see.
Exactly. There was a foul, but the referee didn't call it. You have to keep playing the game.
That's right. They mean that. They don't see them all. So we have into the game Jeff Smithy for the IPFW Mastodons. And last night, Jeff had a good outside shooting game. 4 3-point baskets.
Exactly. He scored 12 points in 12 minutes. And also Clarence Rich scored 15 points in 17 minutes.
Yeah, they both had a good performance.
Exactly. And not to be outdone, John Honstrader came off the bench and scored 18 points in 17 minutes.
I suspect we'll see a good bit of John here tonight before this ball game's over. Well, Kevin Shank and Jeff Smithy that time had a fast break going, but mishandled the ball at the business end of the floor where they were about ready to get a shot off at the basket. But defensively, the Mastodons have been very alert and made it extremely difficult for Tech to handle the ball, let alone get a shot off. 8-2. Indiana Purdue with the lead. And we have a traveling call against Rex Carroll as he started from the deep right corner and then made his move toward the basket, shuffled the feet.
And Rex got a little anxious that time.
We have a substitution in for both lineups at this point. John Honstrader, as you just mentioned a few minutes ago, in now for Doug Ranke in the IPFW lineup, and Scott Wilder has entered the Indiana Tech lineup.
Clarence Rich going to the hole. Clarence in there making things happen on both ends, an offensive end and on a defensive end.
Clarence drew the foul and will go to the line for 2 shots.
Going to the line for 2 shots for IPFW number 12, Clarence Rich. Into the Tech line, number 24, Eric Ellis.
It's going to be interesting to see, Dave, and we didn't see it last night. Who is going to step up for IPFW in crunch time?
Yeah.
This year, you know, in years past, they've lost some key players, but they've always had someone come in and take up that slack. This year, who's going to answer the call? Without Lawrence Jordan, who's going to step up in crunch time? Who's the ball going to go to when you need those 2 points?
And we didn't see it last night. If we don't see it soon, we'll have to see it sometime for them to be an effective force to reckon with.
Again, preferably, that leader has to be either your point guard or someone of the 2-3 forward, wing type player who can create their own shots.
He'll be in the action a lot. We see some good hustle down court. John Honstrader knocks that ball out of bounds. Andy Liebert also into the lineup for IPFW, number 20. Andy is a 6'4" sophomore. Floyd, Central Indiana. 3-point shot by Rex Carroll, and Rex has all 5 points. And that time in the inbounds pass, I don't think Jeff Smithy was quite ready to receive that pass. It went right through his hands, and Indiana Tech comes up with it, has an opportunity for a second straight 3-pointer, but no good. Glenn Howard getting ready to enter the lineup for IPFW.
I think we'll see a little more intensity from Glenn when he enters the ball game this time.
We see the move that John Honstrader was working on last night and used very effectively against the big man from Huntington College, and this time he also used it against the big guys from here at Indiana Tech.
And tonight he should have a little easier time. The defensive player he's playing against tonight is not as tough as the defensive player he was opposing last night in Onyango.
Not nearly as likely to get a shot blocked like he had a couple of them last time. So John Honstrader will go to the line to shoot it. Opportunity for the 3-point play. John's a 6'8" sophomore. Hits the free throw. And it makes the count 13-5 in favor of IPFW. Oh my goodness. He only took 4 big ones. I wondered how long it would take that to be called. You couldn't miss that one even if you were at midcourt.
They may have gave him 2.5, but when you get up to 4 steps, that's a bit
big
much.
ones. Those were big ones too. Those weren't just little ones. Jason Klein in the lineup now for Indiana Tech. Jason, a very quick young guard.
Jason's also a coach's son, so you know he's going to have some good fundamentals.
Yep. Clarence Rich with the outside jumper, no good. Glenn Howard keeps it alive. Andy Liebert comes up with the ball, makes a move down the lane, and a nice soft jump shot. Nice move by Andy.
Indiana Tech a little bit out of sync right now.
And they're calling their second timeout. They're just trying very hard to get organized and can't get things to go right. Well, we at IPFW are pleased to bring you telecasts of the athletics competition here in Fort Wayne. And we are setting up now to bring you an interview that was previously taped with Coach Piazza, and this will be an overview of some of the freshman players.
We add a lot of athleticism to our program, which we need. You know, losing Jordan and Fox and Surgeon, all very good athletes, losing their quickness sure helps. The coaching staff's also really pleased with 3 of our returning lettermen: Kevin Shank from Carroll High School, John Hostrader from Seymour, and Glenn Howard from Chicago. All 3 started at one time last year a little bit, played a lot of minutes for us, but all 3 of them have just turned it up a whole notch in practice. They're so much better than they were last year.
Foul call at this point in time on Jeff Smithy. Little too much hand check pressure on Jason Klein as he handed the ball.
You got to move those feet and not reach with the hands.
We have number 34 into the Tech lineup, Mark McGraw, 6'5" sophomore from Fort Wayne Snyder High School. Mark has a patch across the bridge of his nose, so it looks like maybe in practice someday this week they had a little contact.
And you got to have those sometimes in practice.
Yeah. Jason Klein got in very heavy traffic that time, nowhere to go and no teammate to help him out, and ended up with a traveling turnover.
I don't think that's where Jason wants the ball, right there in the paint.
No.
I think his dad will let him know, too.
He will want to be anything but a postman. John Honstrider picked up the blocked shot off of Andy Liebert, and as he went up, he was fouled. Indiana Tech is struggling, Charlie, and they're struggling about like they did last night, if not more so.
Exactly. They have all 5 starters returning on a team from last year, and they're ranked 3rd or 4th in their district this year. I'm not sure whether it's 3rd or 4th, but that's a very lofty ranking for preseason.
I think it's 3rd, and the district being the state of Indiana for District 21 in the NAIA. Which means they'll probably come along before the season is over. John Honstrider hits the first free throw. We'll have number 2 coming up. John's picking up with his offensive threat where he left off last night. Doing a nice job. He hits the second one also. 17-5, IPFW in the lead. I don't believe we had a margin of this type in either game last night, Charlie.
No.
Foul called that time on number 23 for the IPFW Mastodons, Dwayne Shears. Dwayne's a junior out of Grant, Michigan.
if there's any consolation in this consolation game, a loss for Indiana Tech will not hurt them half as much as a loss to IPFW, losing to an NAIA team being an NCAA team.
You're absolutely right. And in fact, for an NAIA team, it's a feather in their cap when they win against an NCAA team, but it does not hurt them if they lose.
Exactly, and a hard-fought loss still makes them look pretty good.
That's right. IPFW will inbound the ball underneath their own basket. Dwayne Shears into John Honstrider. John looks for help. Dwayne looked for a move, couldn't find one. Glenn Howard starts in, and he loses the ball. Mark McGraw stops, puts up the short jump shot, and hits 2 for Indiana Tech.
This Indiana Tech team has some pretty good athletes on it.
And an excellent move that time by Scotty Townsend. He went right to the hoop. No hesitation whatsoever. And we see a little exchange here between offensive and defensive players. A little shoving, a little pushing, and that time the offensive man happened to get caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Exactly. Usually the second man is the man that gets caught.
You're right.
Jason got caught this time pushing off.
Kind of costly to Tech at this point in time because they need the ball and don't need for Indiana Purdue to do what they just did and score 2 more points.
Well, Jason Klein's a little frustrated right now. The press is giving him, along with the rest of this Indiana Tech team, a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Indiana Purdue has picked up the intensity just a little bit, extended their defense full court, and it has had some effect in the last 2 or 3 possessions.
And I don't think they're going to let up. After that loss last night, they should be hungry.
Dwayne Shears jumper from the right side, and he hits. Indiana Purdue with a pretty good shooting percentage, I would imagine, going here in the first half. Travel. 3 big ones that time. 4 the first time, 3 that time. If he'd put the ball down on the floor just once, he'd have a pretty effective move to the basket.
Right now, Jason Klein's having all kinds of trouble with that IPFW press.
Yeah. And they're trapping and 2-time, and it gets pretty tough when it's done effectively.
Looks like Indiana Tech's into something like the same thing IPFW's in right now.
Oh, great nice pass. Great pass from Dwayne Shears to John Honstrider. Picked up the easy 2 underneath the basket.
That was a great pass. And a good finish also by Honstrider. Again, Klein having some trouble with that press.
In fact, the entire Tech ball club having trouble with the press. John Honstrider wants that ball underneath, and he goes to the hoop. John is aggressive, and that's what you've got to be. He has 9 points for IPFW here in the first half, and we've played about 10 minutes.
What a turnaround. Last night you had Scott Neff from Huntington just continuously break this IPFW press, except for just a few moments. But Indiana Tech having all sorts of trouble with this press.
Scott Wilder, as he did last night, is in foul trouble early. That's Scott's 3rd foul, and he did not start. So John Honstrider to the line, looking to extend the lead, and he does. 28, Indiana Purdue, 7 for Indiana Tech. So the 2 teams that had big disappointments last night, one of them has awakened, the other not yet. But it's early, and we have nearly 3/4 of the ball game to go yet.
What IPFW can't do is let up. They have to continue to put the pressure on. They cannot let up.
And keeping that defensive pressure on, and that time a little aggressive, over-aggressive, and picked up a foul. Andy Liebert picked up the foul. And we have a substitute coming in for IPFW. Clarence Rich. We also have Sean Gibson coming back and Doug Reinke coming back. So some fresh bodies coming back into the lineup for Indiana Purdue. Mark McGraw with that ball inside, and again that defense is really collapsing back in there, and this time Dwayne Shears was able to tie up, and on the alternate possession the ball goes to Indiana-Purdue. Indiana Tech is just absolutely struggling at the moment, although they make a nice defensive play there. Knock it loose and come up with the ball.
And right now, Dave, Dwayne Shears has already seen as much action this game as he did in the whole game yesterday.
Last night. And Richard Rutland, who a senior ball player this year, who has had 3 outstanding years at Indiana Tech, has been very, very quiet in this whole tournament.
Exactly. He's been one of the premier scorers in the city and Fort Wayne colleges, but he has been very quiet.
Nice aggressive move to the basket that time by number 24, Eric Ellis, 6'3" junior out of Indianapolis, Indiana. He gets the basket and an opportunity for a 3-point play. He goes to the line for a free throw.
Eric had a pretty good ball game last night, scoring 13 points. He's a good athlete.
He's a good ball player. He'll help them during the course of this year, and they'll get things going. So Eric scores Indiana Tech's 10th point of the night and makes the score 28-10. Nice move to the basket by Dwayne Shears. He couldn't get the layup to fall. Doug Ranke nearly had a tip in, but wouldn't work. And here we see Indiana Tech on the attack offensively. Richard Rutland with the shot outside, and it's a 2-point jump shot. Well, sooner or later, he's going to get his basket, and that's his first one tonight.
Rutland's a scorer, and you won't be able to hold him down for the whole game.
No, you won't. Dwayne Shears with a short jump shot to the right of the basket after a nice pass from Sean Gibson. Sean probably turned down a pretty good jump shot, too.
But he's a very unselfish player.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised, David, how little of Mike Pittman we've seen in this game in addition to the game last night.
Yeah, both Mike and Sam Long, who were starters from last year's team, are struggling at the moment to get with the flow of the play.
And it would be very hard to say, but maybe Sam Long could have been that person that IPFW was looking for to step up last night.
It could have been. Could be. Well, we'll have to see what happens in that regard after this weekend, because I suspect from day to day it will be a highly competitive practice session with the IPFW situation for playing time on the next ball game.
Exactly. When their goal 10 or 11 deep throughout this season. So who starts the game does not matter all that much.
That's right.
But you do need a team leader.
Doug Ranke hits the free throw, and he gets a second opportunity. And the IPFW, I think, is yet to miss from the free throw line.
That's a good omen. They had a hard time getting there last night.
They couldn't get there. And it was a big differential in the free throw situation last night. Doug Ranke picks up the foul. A little bit of a reach rather than moving the feet to play the defensive situation that time.
Those free throws, Dave, were dictated by the styles of play. IPFW settled for the outside jump shots, and Huntington College went in for the drives.
And they were aggressive.
And tonight we're seeing a little bit more of an aggressive IPFW team, and they're getting to that free throw line.
Indiana Tech is just having all kinds of difficulty getting an offensive set that'll move. People are not ready for a pass or expecting a pass, or the pass is not directly to the player. 32-12 to score. 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. Scotty Townsend with the ball. Brings it down. Ready for the offensive set with Indiana. And that time Clarence Rich got in really heavy traffic and did a nice job by not losing the ball, although on the alternate possession the ball will go to Indiana Tech.
Looks like Indiana Tech's into a little bit of man-to-man run and jump defense. And it caused IPFW a little bit of a problem.
Indiana Tech breaks the press this time. IPFW settles back into its zone defense. Richard Rutland with a three-point shot, and he connects.
You got to keep some pressure on him. You don't want him to warm up.
And we got a little careless with the pass that time, and Indiana Tech's going to come up with 5 quick points. It can turn around, particularly when it's early. We've got to keep the intensity in this game. Glenn Howard goes to the hoop. Sean Gibson with the follow-up, and I think Sean probably drew a foul.
Glenn Howard came down the court. He's a little indecisive that time. Glenn's a senior, has all the athletic ability and the shooting ability that you need, and one of those players that you have to have step up for this basketball team. He's a senior. He needs to be a leader, and he has the skill ability to do so.
He stopped that time and took the short jumper off the glass, which is probably the good shot, the right move for him in that situation, but it didn't fall. He needs a couple or 3 of those to fall for his confidence level to come up.
Exactly. What hurt him there was that split second of indecisiveness. Pass or shoot. Should I pass or should I shoot? What Glenn needs to also get a layup, get a dunk that'll open up his outside game.
Something that'll liven him up as well as the crowd.
Exactly.
Sean Gibson cashes in on both free throws.
That's the best thing for a slump. That's the best medicine. Get a layup, get a few easy shots.
Matt Clausen has gotten very aggressive on the ball movement against the IPFW press, and Richard Rutland scores a 2 that time. He had 1 foot on the three-point line. The official right on the call. Stop, and Andy Liebert hits the three-point. Doug Ranke has picked up his 3rd foul, Charlie, here in the first half with a little less than 6 minutes of play left. So Mark McGraw will step to the line to shoot 2 free throws. John Heinstrider back into the IPFW lineup to replace Doug Ranke.
As deep as IPFW is, that 3rd foul on Ranke will not hurt IPFW as much as that 3rd foul on Scott Wilder.
You're right, because IPFW has several more post players who can come into the game and pick up the slack. Mark McGraw cashes in on the first free throw. Has number 2 now.
Between you have Ranke, Heinstrider, Burkhart, Jackson. That's 25 fouls right there that you can burn up.
You're absolutely right.
Not to mention the 5 that Gibson has.
And Sean Gibson can go in, right. And you mentioned one that's had an interesting short playing time last night. Dedrick Jackson, I thought, came in as a freshman last night and did well. Short time, but to give him a little more time to get familiar with this game, and he looks like he has some tremendous potential.
Exactly. Very pleasant surprise last night.
Andy Liebert with the ball out to Scott Townsend. John Heinstrider gets it inside. Indiana Tech's picked up the defensive intensity just a little bit, and Indiana Purdue has been losing the ball on the turnovers here.
As Tech seems like they're a little more into this ball game now.
Well, they had to get that way. There you see a deep corner three-point shot by number 20, Matt Klaus. And we have a 37-24 ball game at the 5-minute mark of the first half. And IPFW now calls a timeout because you're right, Charlie. The Indiana Tech has finally gotten into a flow of a game that can be a little more successful for them, and they've chucked that lead down a little bit from about 20 points to 13.
They're still down 13 points, but they've gotten this much back into the ball game with Rex Carroll on the bench, one of their top players.
And Rex is very important to them. And Richard Rutland has warmed things up now to where he now has 7 points, with Eric Ellis, number 24, has chipped in 8 points. So those two guys have helped get Indiana Tech back in the ball game.
And they've gotten those points in a hurry, too.
Tune in to Channel 6 this Sunday evening at 7 p.m. to watch the GLVC Women's Volleyball Tournament consolation match between Lewis University and Bellarmine College. And then at 9 p.m. watch the IPFW Lady Volleyball meet Ashland University in the championship match. That's at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. tomorrow evening, right here on Channel 6. Well, we're ready for the play to resume. IPFW will inbound the ball at midcourt. Indiana Tech putting on full court defense. Trap, intense pressure here, and Andy Liebert goes right to the hoop. Nice aggressive move, and gets a basket. And we have a foul call against somewhere underneath there with,
I think it's on Hanstrider.
Those players not involved in the play. And it is against John Hanstrider. Little shove after the action took place. Andy Liebert has picked up his contribution here, Charles, in this first half of the ball game.
He looks like a totally different player. Maybe I don't know what happened in the post-game talk last night or pre-game talk this game, but he's looked a lot better and taken more control, a more active role in the offense.
Tim Hose, number 44, hits the free throw and gets opportunity number 2. He misses, but Mark McGraw aggressively follows, puts the ball back up as he's falling away, and makes a three-point play out of it for Indiana Tech.
He showed great athletic ability on that play too, going out of bounds and flipping the ball up.
Yes, he did. And not committing a foul at the time. Sean Gibson with the ball. And Sean has a tendency to dish that ball off in heavy traffic, and it's awfully hard to handle. He's going to have to go ahead and go up with it, maybe get it blocked, maybe get fouled. Oh, nice anticipation by Clarence Rich as he goes in but misses the layup. Took off a little early.
Yeah. He heard footsteps behind him,
yeah,
but again, it still was a great steal.
Good anticipation on the defense. Four minutes to go here in the first half. The consolation game of the IPFW tip-off tournament. Initiating the 1990-91 basketball season, Indiana Tech hits a three-point shot, Richard Rutland. And we have now a 39-30 count with Indiana Tech having suddenly and finally come to life. But again, Andy Liebert with a nice move down the lane, draws the foul and get an opportunity for 2 free throws.
Dave, a lot of that life has come from Richard Rutland. He's starting to light it up.
He has. He scored 10 points after being very quiet at the start of the game. But Indiana Purdue is going to have to recognize what's happening to them here and pick up their level of intensity and keep this lead and extend it.
See, Dedrick Jackson has entered the game.
Dedrick's in for John Hanstrider. Andy hits the first free throw. Number 2 coming.
Back into the tech line, number 33, Rex Carroll.
Rex Carroll back into the Indiana Tech lineup, which gives them a little more firepower. It's going to be an interesting last 3 minutes and 40 seconds of this half.
Again, I state that Indiana Tech has made this comeback with Rex Carroll on the bench. It would be interesting to see what happens when he gets in here for this last 3.5 minutes.
10-point lead for IPFW, 40-30, with 3.5 minutes to play here in the first half. An alley-oop that is not quite successful. The defense was fairly alert. Nice pass off, and Andy Liebert tried the slam dunk. Nice pass off by Dedrick Jackson.
That was a great pass by Jackson. That was not a freshman pass.
That was not a freshman pass, exactly right. Sean Gibson was on the scoring end of that. And Dedrick makes a nice defensive move. He's in the ball game. He got excited with that first play, and he'll be in the ball game now.
Dedrick looked good last night, and thus far in this ball game, he's looked very good.
Yes, he has. Indiana Tech slowing the pace down now a little bit. They've been some of their success here of late has been by getting their offensive set up and being able to free their shooters for the three-point shot, and they've been connecting. defense that time was anticipating that they would probably try to do that. Diedrich Jackson that time got a hand on the rebound but couldn't control it. And he's leaping. He's getting up in the air.
Jackson has to come down with those rebounds. He's getting a hand on just about everything, but he has to get both hands on it and grab and bring it in.
And he's stretching out as high as he can go up, and now he's going to have to squeeze the ball. One of the new rules this year, and we failed to mention it last night, although it did come into effect, but as a team commits 10 fouls and a half, then from that point on, there will be 2 shots for each foul committed. So it's no longer a 1-and-1 after you have 10 fouls and a half. And Indiana Tech has just committed their 10th. So Sean Gibson will go to the line and shoot 2. New rule this year. Another new rule relative to the free throws that I don't think we saw at all last night. But if a player is fouled attempting a 3-point shot, he will receive 3 free throws.
We didn't see that come into play, but we did see the 10 foul rule come into play.
Yeah, we did.
And that will change some ball games.
Indiana Tech offensive set. They're firing up a lot of 3-pointers now. They hit a couple. That kind of excited them, I guess, and so they're living by that right now. Oh, nice pass underneath again. And again, Sean Gibson on the receiving end of the 2-point bucket underneath. Nice pass by Andy Liebert.
Sean's been the beneficiary a couple of times, just being in the right place at the right time, getting some great passes.
IPFW at the moment giving Tech only 1 shot. Getting a little careless on the offensive set.
Both teams a little ragged right now.
Hey, it's pretty fast pace. We saw a little give and go on that one. Pass over to Sean. He gives it right back. And a nice offensive play.
That's the second oldest play in the book, right behind the pick and roll.
There you go.
Still works.
Sean Gibson called for the foul that time as he attempted to make the steal on the full court press.
Number 41, Sean Gibson, his first personal, team's 9th first half, going on.
And for Indiana Tech,
Number 20,
Matt Clausen will step to the line to shoot free throws. He will be shooting a 1-and-1.
That time Sean just didn't anticipate quick enough. About a half step too slow to get there.
Not quite there in time. Matt Clausen's free throw no good, and Dwayne Shears comes up with the rebound. Hey, coast to coast that time by Jeff Smithy, I'm sorry. I'm going to get his name right before another week goes by. And a stop with a jumper for Richard Grutton. Richard has caught fire. He has scored 12 points. It's about the middle of the first half. IPFW with the shot clock off. And probably took the shot a little too early.
It also was a bad shot.
That may have been a pretty good block, but that call will always be made. The guy from behind, the official can always say you got him with the body, and you're never quite sure that you didn't.
It looked like Rex had all ball that time, but he's not wearing the stripes.
And it's a play. He has to go for it. But Sean Gibson will step to the line to shoot 2. First one is good.
Sean was 4 for 5 last night from the charity stripe and a 76% shooter last year.
Well, his last couple of times up there, he's hit 1 out of 2, but he's probably got maybe 5 or 6 tonight. And we see a blocking foul called against Clarence Rich. So it has taken a fair amount of time here to finish these last 20 seconds or so of the first half. 4 seconds remain in the first half. Indiana-Purdue is leading 48-32 over Indiana Tech. Matt Clausen will step to the line. And this time he will have a 2-shot foul due to this being the 10th foul of the half by IPFW.
He just missed a 1-and-1 just a few seconds ago. So
That's
this
right.
time he got a chance for 2.
He missed the front end of it, didn't he? This time he puts it up softly and falls through.
Also in block, number 21, Scotty Townsend.
Scott Townsend in the lineup for IPFW. And Matt Clausen will shoot the second of his 2 free throws. And it is good. So we have a 48-34 count. IPFW will have 4 seconds to attempt to get something going. And Andy Liebert probably didn't realize the time was about gone, or he would have maybe thrown that up. But we have had an interesting first half. IPFW comes out with a much, much better half of play than they showed either of the 2 halves last night. And they will go to the locker room now with a 48-34 lead.
Yeah, Dave, in this half, you had Indiana Tech who started out very sluggish, but they did have a wake-up call, and they got back into the game. They're still 14 points down, but they are playing better.
Yes, they are, because they had gone that long dry spell lasted them to something like falling behind 25-5, I believe, or something of that sort. And then after that, primarily on the shooting of Richard Rutland and the hustle of their defense. Well, we invite you to stay tuned for the halftime programming, and prior to that we'll give you a quick rundown on some scoring. Andy Liebert has 8 points for IPFW. Sean Gibbleson has 8 points. John Honstreiter has 10, as they are the leading scorers for IPFW. So we invite you to stay tuned for the halftime program, and we'll see you in a few minutes. The tape coming up, or the program coming up very shortly, will be a commitment to quality.
From the shores of Lake Michigan to the banks of the Ohio River, Indiana is a place filled with tradition, achievement, and promise. Those characteristics are also reflected in the state's colleges and universities, in the quality of Indiana's system of higher education. But a shadow is moving over our campuses, and unless we move quickly, that shadow could become a dark cloud hanging over the state for many years. In an unprecedented move, the presidents of Ball State, Indiana State, Indiana University, Ivy Tech, Purdue, Southern Indiana, and Vincennes University have joined forces to sound a call for action.
We are calling for a commitment to quality for Indiana higher education. It must be a statewide effort, unified, coordinated, cooperative. Each of the state's 7 public institutions faces similar concerns, and the solutions are similar for each.
Indiana higher education. For many Hoosiers, it evokes a sense of pride and security, knowing that higher education contributes to our growth and prosperity. But the institutions themselves must focus on the demands of the future instead of their present accomplishments. The leaders of our colleges and universities have outlined several issues that must be addressed. If left unattended, they will affect the success of higher education in Indiana.
The time has passed when a college or university can be all things to all people. Through foresight and planning, Indiana's colleges and universities have developed distinct and yet compatible missions. Thus, we have an efficient and coordinated system of higher education.
The people of Indiana need not look outside the state for quality higher education. Our institutions offer top-ranked undergraduate study in both 2-year and 4-year programs, excellent graduate education and research facilities, and job and technical training. While a variety of degree choices are available at every school, each institution has several specialties, some of which are recognized worldwide.
Increasing the quality of our workforce encourages new businesses to locate in Indiana. College graduates hold a competitive advantage in the labor market. They make more money in their lifetime, and as a group they experience higher employment rates.
1/3 of Indiana citizens between the ages of 18 and 24 go to college. While this percentage is higher than in the past, it is still below the national average. Consequently, other states can offer a better educated workforce to attract business. The solution is to encourage more Hoosiers to go to college. We must provide access for all, with special emphasis on attracting minority and non-traditional students. Out of this class of high school students, only these will go to college. Many of the others will have the skills to further their education, and we must help them to take advantage of the opportunities.
But it's not enough just to encourage young people to continue their studies beyond high school. We must also do more to ensure they are successful in college. If their goal is an academic degree, we must ensure they have every opportunity to graduate.
Indiana has an investment in every student from the day he or she begins kindergarten. It is important that our students finish college because college graduates earn more money and contribute more to the state's economic stability. Of these college freshmen, only these will graduate with a degree. We must focus our efforts on retaining students and assuring the best possible opportunity for them in the job market.
Indiana's public institutions are at a severe disadvantage compared to our peers nationally and in neighboring states. It is difficult to retain and attract top-notch professors. Far too frequently, our faculty members leave us for higher salaries at other institutions. That has to stop if we hope to maintain high quality in our institutions.
The quality of higher education depends upon the quality of the teachers in the classroom. But there's a high demand for qualified professors in many fields and a shrinking pool of available talent. In the next 10 years, 70% of our current faculty will retire or leave Indiana. Our 7 institutions are competing with over 3,400 colleges and universities nationwide for the best talent. To maintain quality in the classroom, we must offer competitive salaries.
We also live in a global economy. With the opening of new markets in Eastern Europe, businesses need to be competitive on an international level. The only way Indiana can compete is to provide graduates with the skills needed in the world marketplace.
The world is becoming a smaller place, and Indiana businesses must look outside our borders to overseas markets. Our state currently trades with every country in the world, and the volume of trading will continue to increase in the future, accounting for a substantial change in business strategies. Higher education is the key to preparing Hoosiers to compete in a global economy.
During the last 20 years, the national economy has changed from one based on heavy manufacturing to service industries. That has hit Indiana hard. Higher education is the way to provide the educated workers who will attract new industries and enable our current industries to remain in Indiana.
Jobs requiring training beyond high school are on the rise. It's important that higher education look to the future and prepare workers today for jobs tomorrow. We must have the facilities and the people to teach students how to use technology. The only way business and industry can succeed in the future is if higher education provides the skilled employees. Indiana is blessed with a strong system of higher education. Currently, Hoosiers need not look outside the state to find a quality school to fit their needs. But there are changing trends and growing problems which we must address now to ensure success in the future. Our 7 public institutions are united in calling for a commitment to quality. The system of higher education we have today was charted 20 years ago. The question now is what kind of university these Hoosiers will attend. The choice is up to us.
I'm Ira Epstein, your host of Stocks, Options, and Futures, inviting you to join me every week for my guests. Now, we've shown shows on baseball cards, the stock market, the options market. We've taught you charting on the marketplace. We've done computer reviews. We're always looking for something different. We want you to tune in because if the world's investment, we're going to cover it. Stocks, Options, and Futures each week here. Be sure to tune in.
Video Magazine, an entertaining and informative look into the world we all share.
Everyone wants to be on a team. Everyone wants to win. But you can't be a winner if you can't stand on your own and say no to drugs. There's strength in numbers as long as the friends you choose are drug-free.
When you say no to drugs, you're a winner. You can be on my team anytime.
Dare to be a standout. Dare to say no to drugs.
This message brought to you by College Access, Channel 6.
The power of teaching. Colleges and universities in Fort Wayne and the surrounding areas are recruiting minority students. Consider a career in teaching. Contact the School of Education at the college of your choice and ask for information about scholarships for minority students. Make a difference. Reach for the power of teaching.
For more information about financial aid or scholarships for minorities interested in teaching careers, please call the School of Education at IPFW, 219-481-6441.
Well, welcome back. We are about 30 seconds away from second half start time. And Charlie, some statistics on this first half of play?
Yeah, the score, Dave, we have IPFW with 48 and Indiana Tech 34. Field goal percentage, Indiana Tech 8 for 26, 31%. IPFW, on the other hand, 16 for 28, a blistering 57%. Three-point field goals, Indiana Tech 4 for 9, 44%. IPFW just took 2 shots and made one of those for 50%. Free throws, very important here. Last night, IPFW shoots 14 free throws the whole game. Right now at halftime, they've shot 18 and made 15 of those for 83%. And Indiana Tech has shot 8 free throws and made 6 of those for 75%. IPFW has an 18-11 rebounding edge. Fouls are pretty much even at 12 for Indiana Tech and 10 for IPFW. Assists, IPFW has 11 assists and Indiana Tech only 5. 1 block shot apiece for both teams. Turnovers, pretty even, 9 and 10. Oh, excuse me, 17 and 15. And steals, even also at 9 for Indiana Tech and 10 for IPFW.
I'd say a couple of things that seem to be a difference tonight over last night for IPFW, and that would be in the rebounding department. Indiana Purdue has an 18-11 edge, and they did not have an edge last night in rebounding. And then I'd say also the fewer number of three-point shot attempts for IPFW, considerably different from last night's game. Well, alternate possession will give the ball to IPFW to start the second half, and we are underway.
Also along the same line are the free throws. Less three-point shots and more free throws, so that means they're going to the basket more tonight than they did last night.
And more aggressive on the offense.
And you can look at the scoreboard and tell the effect that it's had on the play tonight.
Doug Reinke with a nice aggressive move to the basket, a follow-up tip by Sean Gibson. IPFW with the full court pressure, trap defense. Indiana Tech does not look for the opposite side pass like Huntington did last night, Charlie, and might be passing up opportunity to put a little more pressure on this defense.
Exactly. IPFW has to be just ecstatic playing against this team as opposed to the nightmare that went through last night with Huntington. Just destroyed that press at times.
Absolutely. Richard Rutland misses his first attempt of the second half. Scotty Townsend quickly up the floor for the Mastodons. Off to Sean Gibson. Sean in the middle of the lane looking for a pass off. Gets it inside to Doug Reinke.
Just that play right there.
There
look.
we go with an inside move. And Sean was wanting Doug to get that ball, get your position, and he did.
100% turnaround from last night. They're looking inside tonight. Last night, especially in the first half of last night's ball game, IPFW did not even look inside.
Rex Carroll with a jump shot from the left side of the basket. Connects. Fairly rapid pace here by both teams at the start of the second half. Not sure I understand that call. They're calling it on Doug Reinke, and that's Doug's 4th foul. And they're calling him on a holding call of some sort. Must have been the man that was behind him, not the one that knocked the ball loose from him.
That's simply just a no call right there, Dave. Indiana Tech had the ball. They made the clean steal. That's simply a no call.
And that official came from a long way away from the opposite side of the floor to make that call. Kevin Shank with the rebound. Down quickly to Clarence Rich. Clarence got a little careless with the ball.
And last time down the court, we saw Rex Carroll hit the corner of the backboard. I think Rex got caught between whether he was going to bank that or shoot it straight in.
Richard Rutland has really picked up his shooting eye since about the middle of the first half as he connects on a three-point play. And again, the IPFW guards getting careless with the ball, trying to force it on the inside. Indiana Tech is coming back into this game.
I think a bounce pass would have worked right there, Dave.
Yeah, it would have, because a hand about waist high knocked it loose.
That's 2 times down the court. I think a bounce pass should have been made as opposed to the chest pass.
The kind of entry pass that Sean Gibson has been giving the guys that are posting up. At that time, the defense comes around the side. Rutland stops with the jumper. Rex Carroll looking for the shot off to the corner. And Indiana Tech not able to connect on that possession. Clarence Rich to the deep right corner inside to Scotty Townsend. Scotty goes to the hoop but can't get the ball to fall. He's looking for the foul call, but he's got to let that happen. Rex Carroll with the jumper, and Rex connects. We have a 52-41 ball game. IPFW in the lead, but not able to get much going here at the start of the second half. There's been 4 minutes of play, and they've scored a couple of baskets, and that's it. Doug Reinke with a nice move to the basket.
Good move. That wasn't the prettiest thing, but it was effective.
That's right. Put the ball on the floor with one bounce and then back up to the hoop, and in it went. Richard Rutland with the outside three-pointer. So Indiana Tech is taking their shot a little more quickly now, Charlie, and they've cut it to a 10-point deficit.
Well, that's the type of game they want, to get up and down and just shoot the quick shot.
Doug Reinke missed the inside shot, got the rebound, went back up with it. Couldn't get it to fall, but he'll have 2 free throws. That's the third foul on number 24, Eric Ellis. And Eric is one of their key players, particularly in the first half when they were having trouble getting things going.
The reason that up and down style is so effective for Indiana Tech is their 2 best players work best out of those conditions, and that's Rex Carroll and Richard Rutland. They work best out of the up and down style, taking the quick shots, going to the basket, tipping balls in that they miss off layups.
They need to be on the move. Reinke hits the first free throw, has number 2 coming. Andy Liebert has come into the lineup here in the second half for IPFW. Doug Reinke misses the second of the free throws. Didn't get much follow through on that shot.
No.
We're nearing the 15-minute mark of the second half. IPFW with an 11-point lead. Glenn Howard has also come into the IPFW lineup. They're leaving the wrong guy open. He's going to shoot him. The defense better know where he is. He has scored 20 points now, and I don't think maybe he had anything in the first 10 minutes of the game.
When you're playing a zone, you have to be very conscious of where Richard Rutland is at all times.
And Doug Reinke again gets an inside shot. Got a nice bounce, nice roll for it to fall.
Who's ever on the side where Richard Rutland is, or who, if he's swinging with the ball, you have to be aware of where he is at all times. And the last few times down, IPFW has not been aware of where he is, and he's stuck some 3-point shots.
And he's going to cut through the corner now. Reinke's looking for him. He'll skip pass it over. Mark McGraw. Scotty Townsend, as he attempted to move down court, was caught on the arm. Foul by Indiana Tech. IPFW will inbound the ball.
Something that's been very effective for Indiana Tech, Dave, has been that skip pass. They swing the ball, they swing the defense all the way over, and then they skip the ball back over. And the last few times it's been Rutland who stuck those 3-pointers and gotten them back into this ball game.
Found that wing player, and he can cannon a shot. IPFW careless on the offense. Indiana Tech cashes in on the defense.
Again, that's the open court. That's where Rex Carroll is most effective. He is not as effective in a half-court set offense as he is in the open court.
Right. If he has to set up, it's a little bit different situation. Tech now with a trap defense. Glenn Howard moves toward the hoop. Must go up with it. Got to go up. Glenn's very tentative. Very tentative.
Again, he was indecisive. Glenn has to go up and make the move or pull up and take the jump shot. He has the athletic ability to go up over people. He has to just make the good, strong move.
Indiana Tech is now getting into the flow of things, and they're excited because they have that deficit down underneath 10 points. Rex Carroll from the deep corner, and he hits 3 points. They're hot. They're hot, and they feel it, and they want it. And away they go, and we have a timeout by Indiana-Purdue as we have just under 13 minutes of playing time left in the second half, and we have a score of 57-51. IPFW with a 6-point lead. We have an interview coming up. One of the new players on the IPFW squad this year, Dwayne Shears.
Yeah, so far I do. Everybody's working hard, and hopefully we can win our tip-off tournament this weekend.
Okay, who's going to be your biggest contender this year? Who do you feel is going to come to town, or you're going to go into there and it's going to just be all-out war?
Well, this is my first year here, but so for what I've heard, it's Kentucky Wesleyan.
Okay, let's see. What drill do you like least in practice?
The sideliners, definitely.
Can you just try that and tell us a little bit about it?
We have 40 seconds, and we go the width of the court, and you have to run forward and touch the opposite line, then you have to run backwards and touch that line. You have to do that 9 times in 40 seconds.
What happens if you come in at 41 seconds?
Well, sometimes they make us do it over, but sometimes they're lenient. They don't. So.
Oh, we wouldn't want the coach to know they're lenient.
Well, I would not lenient, no.
And play resumes now with IPFW with the ball. Indiana Tech nearly with the steal. Mark McGraw could not quite control it in the lane, so it'll be out of bounds to IPFW underneath their own basket. Two players, Charlie, have really brought Tech back into this thing. Rex Carroll and Richard Rutland.
Exactly. Rutland had already gotten back into the game. Until a few moments ago, Rex Carroll had been quiet, but now he just hit a three-pointer and he just made a great pass off a fast break moments before that. So now he's into this ball game, and that could spell trouble for IPFW.
Well, both those guys are in the ball game now, and they'll stay that way till it's over. They will not be bashful. IPFW must find an opportunity here on the offense.
And again, if IPFW can stop Indiana Tech's fast break and keep Rutland and Carroll into a structured scheme of things, that would be more effective for IPFW, because those are two players that like the unstructured style, the up and down style to get the quick shots.
So defensively, IPFW is going to have to be able to recognize where they are. John Heinstrider back into the game. Tech unable to handle the ball. The one official underneath the basket tonight, Charlie, does not seem to be inclined to call anything underneath. I just saw him motioning now. It was a block. There was nothing there on the arms, and he's had 3 or 4 opportunities where a lot of tough action underneath, and he makes no call.
You're going to have some days and some referees like that. That's why you have to just go in and score the buckets, like Glenn Howard just did. But until that moment, he had not been doing that. He's been very tentative down there.
He's got to do more of that. Play's getting kind of physical in there. And I think we have a foul call against Indiana Tech. Mark McGraw.
That's the kind of game Indiana Tech wants, and that's the only way that they will be able to beat IPFW. The unstructured up and down style. You shoot and go for the rebound.
Dwayne Shears handles the ball, comes down to Glenn Howard, and Glenn gets his hand bounced by number 20, Matt Close. It's Matt's 3rd foul. Glenn Howard will step to the line to shoot 2. And it's a situation where IPFW would very much like to have these 2 points.
Again, what we see here is Glenn Howard, a senior, great athletic skills, good enough height to go up over people. He has to do more of that. I think he's the player on this team that has the athletic ability to take control, to be that player to count on down the stretch. He just has to get more confidence in himself and go to the hole stronger.
Well, he gets his 2 free throws there, as well as that inside basket just seconds ago. So it would appear that Glenn's beginning to step forward here. And Indiana Tech with an errant long court pass. And so they're beginning to shoot themselves in the foot. Just under 12 minutes of play remaining. Second half of play. IPFW tip-off tournament consolation game. Nice pass inside. Sean Gibson with the layup. Nice cut, nice pass.
Great pass. But what the referee did not see is Glenn Howard shuffled his feet on that inbounds pass, and he did not have that authority to move his feet because that was a violation.
Defensive recognition. They got to find Carroll. They got to find Richard Rutland. Carroll missed that time, but it was not because the defense was putting pressure on his shot. Glenn Howard with the steal. Glenn with an opportunity here to take it on in. And we have a foul called probably on Matt Klaus, and that'll be number 4 if it's on number 20, Matt Klaus. And it is. And that could be important to the Tech Warriors.
Exactly. That's the type of play that Glenn Howard has to make. I would rather have seen him just go straight to the hole with it. Again, you have Klaus with 3 fouls. If he goes straight to the hole, he's either going to score that bucket or get a foul. It turned out good. He got the foul, but again, I would rather see him just go straight in. And on the other end, right before that, Dave, you had Indiana Tech get into their structured offense. And I just stated that if they have to get into their structured offense, that's what IPFW wants them to do.
They have a tougher time.
And right away, they threw the ball right into Glenn Howard's hands off their structured set offense.
Glenn hits the free throw, has the second opportunity forthcoming. And that's good. So the lead stretches back out now to 14, being down to a 6-point lead at one time, and IPFW has now run off 8 straight points, and at least 6 of those were by Glenn Howard. Pressure defense that time caused difficulty again for Tech to get the ball across, and a traveling call was made.
That's Jason Klein again. Jason has had all sorts of trouble with this IPFW press.
Well, this is a new game for him. He was a good high school guard, but this is a little bit different. And a tip up and in by Sean Gibson.
Sean's been his usual consistent self tonight, Dave.
Indiana Tech again loses the pass, but it's like a pinball out there.
Gave it right
goes back and forth. Richard Rutland with the ball, looking for the shot. Rex Carroll cutting down the lane, and we have a timeout called. Indiana Tech. They want to regroup and see how things can get back in shape here. They've let it get out of hand just a little bit. 67-51 the count. IPFW in the lead by 16 points over the Indiana Tech Warriors.
And this change has come, Dave, when, again, Indiana Tech having to set. IPFW has made them set the offense and hasn't given them those open court fast breaks where they have a chance to use their athleticism for good shots.
Coming up next, you'll see the championship game, the IPFW tip-off tournament, Huntington College versus St. Francis College, the winners of the 2 games last night. Should be an excellent ball game in this second game tonight, Charlie.
Again, like I said, what everyone thought on paper, this would be the championship game, and the actual championship game would be the consolation game, but it didn't turn out that way.
That's why you have to play the games.
Exactly. And you have to give those 2 teams, Huntington College and St. Francis, all the credit in the world because they went out and played the ball game, didn't pay any attention to what everyone was saying before those games.
They played very hard and played from beginning to end, and they deserved their wins. Both of them very deserving wins last night. Well, Indiana Tech will inbound the ball with just under 11 minutes of play remaining here in the basketball game. IPFW with a lead, 67-51.
And again, the loser of this ball game is going home 0-2.
Richard Rutland with the ball out to Jason Klein. Eric Ellis with the ball for Indiana Tech. IPFW kind of socking back there in a zone defense now. And
that's what you want. Make them set their half-court offense.
And then we get errant with our outlet pass.
It's a perfect example. There's an open court situation for Indiana Tech. Something good comes out of it. They get a foul to get a chance to go to the line. Structured offense. you have an air ball, a 20-foot air ball.
So Mark McGraw will go to the line, shoot 2 free throws, as he was fouled in the act of shooting by Sean Gibson, and that was Sean's second foul. Second team foul on IPFW here in the second half. Mark McGraw with the free throw, and it's good.
Mark's played much more tonight than he played last night. Last night he played 4 minutes, came in with 2 points. Tonight he's played significant minutes and made good contributions to this ball game tonight.
And his second free throw is good. Part of his playing time tonight being a little different might be because Scott Wilder got into foul trouble even more quickly.
Exactly.
Jeff Smiley didn't give the ball up, and they ended up losing it by got to pass that ball around when that pressure defense is there. And Jeff tosses it away that time. Rutland out of the corner, and he's got 3 on its way. Indiana Tech finding a lot of life here. Purdue has got to come alive and shut this thing down.
Again, there's that style again, Dave. They want that quick shot, then they want to go for the rebound. And that's what they're doing. They want to get the steals, get in the open court, get the rebound. Again, if it's off the rebound or if it's in the open court off a steal, that's what they want to do. Get the quick shot, then bang the glass.
Keep it at a helter-skelter pace.
Exactly. Right now it's being very effective for them.
Yes, it is. They're on the comeback trail again. Rutland with the ball out at the top. Rex Carroll on the drive. Nice move. And he's one that can use the left hand equally as well as the right hand on a in-close play.
Yeah, I know a lot about Rex. I played with Rex 1 year here.
And a steal that time by Jason Klein, and then a slam dunk by. And Indiana Purdue is just getting totally unorganized in terms of handling the ball and knowing what to do with it and being careless with protecting the ball.
And they're playing Tech's ball game right now, Dave.
So here we are. That lead's been sliced back down to 8. And it'll probably be that way. It'll be up and down and around we go. Under 9 minutes to play. 67-59. IPFW with the lead, and Richard Rutland fires for 3. No good. Now Scott Townsend with the ball. And again, no good reason to have to try to make that play. Get it down, set up, control it, and let's go with it.
Right now, IPFW is playing Indiana Tech's type of basketball. They're going up and down with him, and on the last play, they fell right into their hands. The up-court pass and then the cross-court pass. That's what Indiana Tech wants, the up-and-down, helter-skelter type of style. But in all reality, Tech is a lot less effective in a structured offensive pattern on offense and defense.
Key situation for IPFW here now. They have the ball, need to work it around, get an offensive move that will get them a score. Fairly good move by Dwayne Shears, but he comes up empty-handed. Mike Pittman's in the ball game now for IPFW, so he should be able to help settle things down. Rex Carroll fires that 3-pointer out of the corner. And he has now come up with, after having 5 points at the end of the first half, he has now have a game total of 21. He has 21 points. Richard Rutland has 20. Only 2 other guys have scored for Indiana Tech this half. Mark McGraw, a couple of free throws, and Matt Klaus, a field goal. So it's 2 players for Tech have brought them back again.
Yeah, again, Rex Carroll, a player that I played a full year with. I know a lot about Rex, and you have to keep Rex in a half-court structured offense to be effective defensively against him. If you can get Rex in the open court, get him going to the boards, off the rebound for dunks, that type of thing, Rex will be very effective, get his confidence up also.
Tune in Saturday, December 1st, as College Cable Access Channel 6 presents live coverage of NCAA women's basketball. The Lady Norsemen from Northern Kentucky University take on IPFW's Lady Mastodons at 6 p.m. right here on Channel 6, College Cable Access, Channel 6 Sports. Immediately following that game at 8 p.m., you'll catch the NCAA men's basketball when the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals meet the IPFW men's basketball team. Join us as we bring you our first college basketball doubleheader of the season right here on Channel 6, December 1st. IPFW back with the ball. Cross court, Dedrick Jackson turns his back on the pass, but Scott Townsend was not aware of where the man was, what the man was looking for, had no reason to have to try to dump it off quite that quickly.
I think that was Clarence Rich.
Or Clarence Rich, you're right. And we have a holding foul on Glenn Howard.
Dave, this ball game is still headed the same way towards Indiana Tech style of play. This is what they want. The up and down unstructured type of ball game. IPFW has to set something up and get a good shot. Run some clock maybe.
And Jason Klein at the moment is having a little mind game with Glenn Howard. First the foul on Glenn Howard, then they foul on Jason Klein, but what it ends up being is a change of possession, and Indiana Purdue gets the ball.
Exactly. This is not the time of game for time in the game for talking back and forth and sticking elbows on each other's side. This is crunch time nowadays.
It is the time of game for Mike Pittman to come alive and contribute to this team. Dedrick Jackson took a jump shot that time. Mark McGraw comes up with the rebound.
That could not have been the shot that Coach Piazza wanted in that type of situation.
I don't think so. Richard Rutland drives the lane, hits the two. Well, there will be one of two guys that I'll bet will be putting the shot up for Indiana Tech. And with the defense has got to recognize that.
And to this point, Dave, they have not.
They have not is right. Mike Pittman makes an aggressive move to the basket. And we need to get some action out of Mike.
Exactly. He's one of the guys on the floor right now that has to take control. You have two seniors out there. Then you have Sean Gibson, who plays like a senior. Then you have a junior college transfer in Clarence Rich. Then you have the freshman. That's a good combination of players. You have some leadership out there. You have some athletic ability out there. A good combination. And this guy, Mike Pittman, has to step up right now and take control.
Some interesting streaks in this game, Charlie. Back when it was 57-51, IPFW's lead had been cut to 6. They ran off 10 straight points. Got it up to 16. Then Indiana Tech comes back with 13 straight points, cut it to 3. Now Mike Pittman has cashed in on 2, and it's 69-64.
All I know, Dave, it's very easy to coach up here. But when you're down there, it's a whole different story.
Easy to coach and play up here. That's right. You can see it all up here. And Rex Carroll out of the corner. Not sure about the technicality on that call, Charlie, on the travel. His feet had never been planted, I don't think.
I think that's a foul. It should have been a foul on Indiana Tech. And again, if not a foul, a no call, and a good pass. Glenn got rid of the ball, but they called a foul. I mean, excuse me, they called traveling.
Now it's time for the IPFW offense to relax. They're across half court, but they don't. There's no hurry once they're across and have the ball. Bodies all over the floor. And Mark McGraw with an inside move to pull Indiana Tech to within 3 again. Now they're into the half-court time. Should set up their offense and go with it. No time to panic. Just over 6 minutes to play.
They need to right now pass the ball around, get some good cuts, get some picks. Set things up, take your time, get the cuts, get the picks, and then Tech will break down.
Glenn Howard with a three-pointer. He needed that one badly. He couldn't get it. Sean Gibson goes back up. He can't get one to drop. Well, the effort was there.
Exactly. IPFW has to run a little clock, take these Tech players through some picks. They will be impatient. You run them through a couple of picks, swing the ball around a few times, you would get a good shot. But again, it's easy to coach from up here.
Yeah. Good heads-up play that time by Clarence Rich on the three-pointer by Glenn Howard was long, and Clarence was able to knock it loose just enough that he could grab it, put it up. He missed, but it kept the ball alive, and Sean Gibson got his attempt, and now we'll have 2 free throws as a result of that. Scott Townsend into the lineup for Glenn Howard. Doug Reinke's back into the lineup also for IPFW to provide them with a little more strength inside. Big free throw for Sean Gibson that time. Needed that one.
IPFW has Gibson and Reinke in the ball game, but other than that, they are very small on the court right now.
Yes, they are. But they've needed that ball handling because they went through a stretch here not long ago where they could not handle the ball at all.
Jason Klein, again, still a little shaky against that press.
A little shaky on the ball handling. IPFW playing man-for-man defense that time and may have caused a little difficulty, a little confusion for. Oh, we see a move down the lane. Strong move down the lane. And Sean Gibson gets a 2-pointer.
That's a lot of contact and bodies flying for no foul, Dave.
Especially when we see some other things earlier where there was no call.
Exactly.
Nice move by Matt Klaus inside. Puts up a 2-pointer. Matt Pittman with the ball. 2 or 3 times we've had an IPFW player turn his back to the ball, and you can't do that. Coach Piazza is telling Sean Gibson, put the shot up when you're in tight like that, and Sean needs to go ahead. He may miss the shot, but it'll be nothing worse than, or no worse than having the turnover. Rutland with the short jumper, no good. Clarence Rich with the rebound. We're still on the verge of playing Indiana Tech's ball game. Up and down. Clarence Rich with the jump shot, no good.
Also, Dave, IPFW the last couple of times down the court have made up-court passes to people who have not even been looking for the ball.
You're right, and it creates all kinds of problems for them.
And again, you said they're playing into Indiana Tech's hand. That's right. They need to just give it to their point guard or another person capable of bringing the ball up the court and set something up.
4 minutes and 12 seconds to play. IPFW clinging to a 5-point lead. Eric Ellis with an inside move that time, and he draws the foul. Third foul on Clarence Rich. Clarence last night got into a little bit of foul trouble after having played a pretty good stretch of basketball.
Yeah, that time he got his hand caught in the cookie jar trying to help out down low.
The defense has got to stay alert. Got to stay alert, as Clarence did right then, and Mike Pittman closed in on him. Doug Reinke. And Reinke with quite a move down the middle, and Klein bit the dust. A no call.
Again, it's not pretty, but it's effective. But on the other hand, Mike Pittman, you never want to give the ball to a big man like Doug Reinke that far out on the court. You don't want him to have any more than 1 dribble and 2 steps and then go in for the layup or the dunk. That time it was much too far out for him to do what he needs to do with that basketball.
That's a 4th timeout for Indiana Tech, so they will only have 1 more, and it could be getting down to crunch time at the end. We have another interview for you with one of the current IPFW returning ball players. We'd like you now to join us as we listen to this interview with Sam Long, last year's MVP.
We're off to a good start, but we should be better. You know, the intensity level has to rise up if we plan on competing with the conference teams. So but I think we'll come along.
You're probably a little bit tired of beating each other up. You probably want to get out there and beat on somebody you don't know.
Yes, that's true too.
Yeah. Okay, so what have you seen this year that may have surprised you a little bit?
Well, the new guys have come in and played extraordinarily good, especially Scotty Townsend at point guard, and well, they caught on a lot faster than most of the new guys usually do. So that's one good sign. It goes to show that we should do well this year.
We resume play now as Indiana Tech has inbounded the ball. Richard Rutland looking for the shot. He's one of the two that IPFW does not want to shoot the ball. They'll let Matt Klaus take the shot as opposed to either Richard Rutland or Rex Carroll. And again, probably a move we didn't need to make. Had the ball down, 2-on-1, hold it up, do anything but throw it away.
Clarence either has to take that all the way to the basket himself or just turn around and pull it back out and set something up. Preferably, with the way the game has been dictated with these two teams, preferably pull that play right back out and set something up and make these guys play some defense.
Keeping a hand on Richard Rutland. And Richard, that time in all kinds of traffic, put up the shot and hit it. Can't blame the defense that time, I don't think.
No, it's just one of those nights, I think, for Rutland. Everything's going in right now.
Yes, it is. He tries for a steal that time and defensively pulls up and is called for the foul. So Clarence Rich, or is it Scott Townsend, will go to the free throw line?
I think it's Clarence Rich.
Yeah. IPFW 70, Indiana Tech, or IPFW 75, Indiana Tech 70. Charles, it's the kind of ball game we almost always have when Indiana Purdue and Indiana Tech get together.
Again, you're talking about Fort Wayne bragging rights, and this whole tournament is a Northeast Indiana bragging rights competition. And right now, Huntington and St. Francis have the upper hand. But then again, that does still not take away from this ball game right here and the way these two go at it whenever they meet.
Clarence hits the first of two to stretch the lead to 6. We're under 3 minutes now, and Rutland wanting it. They'll let Klein take it, but he hits, and he gets a three-pointer. And it may have even been tipped.
Could have been.
Well, they went to the hoop. Doug Ranke went strong. And that's the 4th foul on Eric Ellis, number 24. So that's the second Indiana Tech player with 4.
That's a good play. And Doug went to the hole strong, and he has to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good pass by Townsend to get him the ball in a position where he could do something with it, and he's at the line. We'd like to see a 3-point play, but we'll take 2.
Could have been shooting for a 3-pointer. You're right. Second one, no good, but Scott Townsend came up with the rebound, but he was tied up. But the alternate possession gives the ball to Tech. And I guess you can look at that 2 ways. That means on the next tie-up, why the alternate possession will go to Indiana Purdue.
Yeah, but I'd rather have the ball.
I'd rather have the ball, too. I'd also rather have the 77 at this point in time. It's 77-73. IPFW in the lead. Mark McGraw making the move down the outside. Eric Ellis with a nice inside move and a follow-up. Indiana Tech comes out with the ball. A lot of scrambling. Richard Rutland fires up a wild 3-pointer, and it goes in. Well, it's a prayer, and he got it answered. Nice pass. Nice pass. And there'll be an undercut, which could possibly be an after the shot foul. Good basket. And there's a 2-shot foul coming up afterwards. So it was after the, could be a 4-point turnaround.
Yeah, again, there's that rule coming into effect nowadays with the 10th foul. Scotty Townsend getting 2 shots plus the basket that he made. And like you said, a chance for a 4-point play.
Richard Rutland, Charles, is up to 27 points in this ball game. And that's again after having a very slow start for the first 6, 7, 8 minutes of the game.
Exactly, and we stated a couple of times he's thrown in prayers, but you don't average 20 points for 3 years straight.
That's right.
Maybe that's
his
style. Yeah, exactly.
Scott Townsend misses the first free throw, so he have the second opportunity now. (79-76). Minute 42 to play, and Townsend misses the free throw, but Mike Pittman with a big rebound and a possession for IPFW. Now the pressure defense for Indiana Tech, and Mike Pittman, probably one of the best to handle that kind of a pressure and to keep the ball moving. And that alternate possession, that old bugaboo is going to come back. The white team's going to get the ball with a new 45-second shot clock and a 3-point lead. Minute 20 to play. Lot of action probably going to be seen in this last minute and 20. Although Indiana Tech has only one timeout left.
I think it's very important right now for IPFW to run some clock and still get a good shot. They need to take some clock off, plus get the good shot.
They're having some offensive recognition difficulties in terms of being able to see and control the ball. They have it now. They're in control. And the pressure should not be that big on them. There's more pressure on Tech than there is on IPFW at this point in time.
It's good. It will be interesting to see who's going to step up.
Nice pass off. Nice pass off by Mike Pittman, and the slam dunk by Doug Reinke. Tech wants a technical foul because he hung on the rim, but you can do that when you're in heavy traffic anymore. And probably not a wise foul by Sean Gibson at that point in time. Let the big guy go on in, take his shot. But we have 43 seconds left, and 81-76 count with IPFW in the lead. 43 seconds to play. Mark McGraw stepping to the line for Indiana Tech, and he will shoot 2.
That was an interesting play on the other end, Dave. What actually happened is Reinke pulled the rim down, and that allowed the ball to actually go in. I don't think it would have went in if he does not grab the rim.
You're probably right. Mark McGraw is 4 for 6 at the line. He hit his first 4, but has missed his last 2, so we'll see how these two go for him. First one round and no good. I'm sorry, he had hit 4 in a row. That's his first miss. He has the second opportunity coming up, and it's no good. And Mike Pittman gets the great position and pulls off a rebound. Mike, the smallest guy on the floor, or nearly so. And I'm not sure we need a three-pointer, but to get it.
We'll take it, huh?
That's right. If it's there and it falls, that's one of those the coach says, oh, no, yeah.
Exactly. I don't think Andy wanted that shot, but it went in. It's like, hey, we'll take that one.
We may see. No, he was saying the foul was before the shot, and I think that's a good call. He went ahead and fired up the shot afterwards.
And that's a smart play by Klein to do that.
Yeah, because he could have been shooting 3 free throws if he'd have gotten a break on the call.
At this point in the game, you try everything it takes to get a W on your side column.
Well, it does put Tech into the 1-and-1. And at the 19-second mark, IPFW with an 8-point lead. Now 7 as Jason Pine makes the free throw. And he'll be shooting number 2. And I suspect you'll see a foul coming up as quickly as Tech can get a hold of somebody when the IPFW inbounds the ball.
And right now, Dave, you can't say enough about what Mike Pittman has came into this ball game and given to IPFW the leadership. He hasn't scored a lot, so in the box score tomorrow, you won't see a lot under Mike Pittman's name, not even in the minute column, but in the last few minutes that he's been in the ball game, he's given them leadership, some scrappiness, gotten those loose balls, and scored some free throws, and also he's passed very well also.
And you're going to see no turnovers, and you're going to see some key rebounds that he has had. But Rutland throws her up again. Doug Reinke goes up high for the rebound. Pittman with the ball now with the outlet pass to Clarence Rich. dishes off to Reinke, and Reinke lays it in. That probably does it, and it does, as the game comes to an end, 86-78, an IPFW win over Indiana Tech. But it was a good ball game, Charlie, after both teams finally got off of dead center and their disappointment from last night.
Yeah, it took a while for Indiana Tech to get into the ball game, but when they did, they made a great run at it and gave IPFW a scare of going 0-2 at the beginning of the season at their own tournament.
Certainly did. We have some unofficial scoring for the IPFW Mastodons. Doug Reinke, after a slow start in the first half, 4 points, ends up with 18 for the game. Sean Gibson has 18 for the game, 8 in the first half, 10 in the second. John Honstrader scored 10, all of them in the first half. Then we have 4 points out of Kevin Shea, 8 points out of Glenn Howard. And Glenn hit some critical points in there when Indiana Tech had closed that gap a little bit. Also with 8 points were Andy Liebert, Clarence Rich, 2 points, Mike Pittman. But as you said, a big pair of free throws and the other things that you won't see in the scoring column, but handling the ball and 2 or 3 big key rebounds.
Again, you have to give Mike Pittman. He'd be my dandy-don player of the game. Again, he came in and gave them some stability when they started, when Indiana Tech made that large run at the ball game and things were going their way. All the momentum, the helter-skelter style. Mike Pittman came into the ball game and gave IPFW some stability and some senior leadership.
Something they had needed sorely for each of the 2 nights here. Well, the scoring for the losing Indiana Tech Warriors, as they scored 78 points. We have Jason Klein with 5, Matt Klaus with 4, Richard Rutland with a big 27. Eric Ellis scored 10, Rex Carroll with a big 21. Mark McGraw came in and gave him 10 points, and 1 point by Tim Hose. So an exciting consolation basketball game. I suspect, Charlie, we'll see an equally, if not more, exciting second game here tonight, as the championship game of this IPFW tip-off tournament will be underway in about 25 minutes, and it will show the St. Francis Cougars playing the Huntington College Foresters. We thank you for being with us in this ball game and invite you again to come back in about 25 minutes for the championship game of the